I've beaten Witcher 2 on Dark difficulty many times before, but never on Insane, so I decided to do just that. In reality, Dark difficulty is actually harder than Insane, especially if you don't use additional weapons that you get in Dark mode. Insane is basically hard mode but with permadeath, and that's what makes it really difficult. One small mistake and you have to start the whole game over. There is a silver lining though. If you reload the save just before dying, there is no consequence and you can just restart. To be fair, I decided not to cheat this way unless this would cause me to die from a glitch or something very similar, which is clearly not my fault. I started the game by waking up from a beautiful sleep and this soldier ruining my day. First thing I meet are the Crimson Reavers, who give me a bauble starting the quest My Littlest Heart. Then I joined up with Foltest using a ballista to hit the barricade. In the second flashback we start our first fight using the Quen, which is probably the strongest version of it in Witcher 2. Between that and using art to get some stun kills, I proceeded to the ballista. Here are many waves of enemies, which all of them are very dangerous, especially if you get hit in the back. I used the best strategy known to man, exploring AI stupidity. If you run back to a certain point, they just turn around and leave their back open, so I exploited that and fired the ballista. I persuaded Lavalette to surrender and proceeded to the dragon. This was my first fail of the run. I chose the wrong time to start moving, so he just burned me to death. And died again on the second try as well. I died 3 times before figuring out when I can move safely, and the 4th time I decided to do dragon later, but that was even bigger mistake, making me die against the longsword knight combined with me stepping into fire. Next try I successfully dodged the dragon and got through this difficult fight by using bombs and art to get some stun kills. I got through the dragon quick time event, losing me a silver sword as well as reaching and witnessing the king slaying. Now the game can really start. I had almost no trouble escaping the prison, but I did fail at stealth, forcing me to fight many soldiers. Luckily Quen and Art were enough to dispose of them. I also killed the torturer and escaped with the help of Arian. I finally reached Flotsam. Here I had to fend off some Squatel, which luckily went without issues, and then I saved Zoltan and Dandelion from the executioner. I picked up all the notices as well as played some dice and fought some people to get more gold. I plan to complete all the possible side quests as well, for 1 because they help me with the level up, and 2 for an added challenge, since they can be much more difficult than the actual main quests. I also crafted Witcher Silver Sword and Light Leather Armor, which gives me some nice protection for now. I went on to complete Malena side quest next, which leads me to a Cave of Knackers. Here I struggled a bit and used all of my summon bobs I started out with, but barely survived. I did however get a lot of Knacker body parts for my future crafting and alchemy. Once I was done with cave research, I turned her in, seeing through her lies. I met up with Tris to check up on Karen and killed many annoying drowners. I did Andraga and Knacker contracts next. I bought Grapeshot bomb diagram and crafted some bombs to destroy nests. Knackers weren't much different than in the cave, but the Andraga queens are a different story. Because I do almost no damage to her with a weapon, I just ignited her and exploited her AI again, since Andraga queen turns around every time you move too far from her nest. After a long time it died without too much risk to me. Honestly, without an exploit this can be very dangerous though. While doing the contract side quest, I also did beat the troll and promised him I would find his woman killers. I collected the reward for contracts and became overweight, forcing me to sell some junk weapons, being able to craft some new weapons and armor, as well as getting me some very much needed formulas for potions. Potions like Rook, Swallow and Toniol are pretty much best potions in the game and must have on higher difficulties. I crafted superb Witcher Silver Sword as well. I also inserted Fire Rune in for additional damage. The free armor enhancements and runes are nice to have, for most weapons and armor in this game don't last more than 1 chapter, if that, and runes are expensive to buy or craft, so best ones for each weapon to have is very unrealistic. So I'll just use what I have at least until the final weapons and armor. Fire Rune is one of the best runes though. I met Ziggy to complete fighting side quest and collect some additional coin. Refusing to accept Lorida's offer because I won't bow to scum like him, I won the tournament. I completed In the Claws of Madness side quest next, turning those two to the ghost, making them suffer. I then got the Shitro's hat and killed her killers. Completing this side quest, Troll agrees to fix the breach. I also bought Araka's eyes from Cedric, and that's all of the ingredients for Melitele's hard side quest. This is actually a pretty difficult fight against the Spectres, so I drank Rook, Swallow and Tony Oil and put on Spectre Oil on my blade. While using the whetstone is arguably better, there are only 10 in the entire game and those are very expensive, making them a worthwhile sell. So for fights like this where you can just put on an effective oil, I will do just that. To be fair, in the end I only really used like 4 stones for major fights, others I sold or kept. Completing this side quest rewards me with a very small permanent stat boosting item. I crafted Hunter's Armor and put some of those free enhancements to boost my defenses. I got drunk with Vass and got myself a tattoo which will stay with me all the way into The Witcher 3. I also got captured by the scammers, forcing me to fight them for the formula. This is very scary fight, so I drank Vigra for huge defenses, Wolf for negating Vigra's drawbacks, and of course Solo. Even with Vigra I took quite a bit of damage. Without it this would probably be the run over, proving why potions are so OP in this game, even without anything invested into alchemy, as I'm mostly doing combat build with some science. Finishing all of those side quests, I went on to defeat the Karen. I drank Mongoose Potion for protection, Toniol and Vigra to not get insta-killed from my mistakes. I also used my first whetstone, making Karen a joke of a boss. I met with Ciaran and found out more information about Yorvan. Me and Tris went to pick up Rose of Remembrance, and of course I have taken a bath with Tris. Next I went on to meet Zoltan and he led me to Yorvan. I killed Arakas using a very similar strategy to Andrea Queen. Using Zoltan as a distraction, I killed it spamming Igni. Meeting up with Yorvet, I persuaded him to meet Latho, so we acted as if I captured him. Deciding on going Yorvet's route because it's just straight up more interesting and better route, I gave him a weapon and fell onto a cave together with Latho, beginning our first difficult fight. Fighting Latho went about as smoothly as you would expect, being one of the more difficult fights in the game, much harder than his second fight. But I didn't have too much trouble beating him. After him escaping and threatening to capture Tris, I went back to the town where all of the hell breaks loose. After some help from Dandelion, I reached the room where Latho forced Tris to teleport to Aedirn, mortally wounding Cedric in the process. I drank the cat potion and followed the blood to find Cedric and get his side of the story. Me having no time to lose, I went to Yorvet, deciding to go to Aedirn together. Defeating the guards on the ship is easy, and before leaving I decided to save the elves instead of killing Lorido, and then we went on for Aedirn. Playing as Prince Stannis fighting Hansel because they couldn't come to an agreement, I came very close to losing the run right here. But luckily I stun-locked Hansel and deleted his health before they could do the same to me. Stannis cut Hansel's eye, and in return Hansel, using Priest's hat, forced open the rift between the two armies, causing the curse. With the help of Philippa, I fought through to the other side of Saskia and Prince Stannis. Coming out on the other side, we needed to find a way to dispel the curse, but before that I started doing many side quests after picking them up at the notice board. I started with brawling and dice. I then wanted to arm wrestle against the dwarves, but was forced to complete Subterranean Life quest to find Dwarven Immortal. I descended into the lower passages, killing everything and collapsing breaches in the cave for the side quest. I killed this Bulwar and got what I came for, as well as collapsed the last breach. This unlocked the arm wrestling conversation options with the dwarves, so I complete this side quest as well. After getting a lot of coin from arm wrestling and dice poker, I crafted Robust Red Meteorite Sword, which fits the most for my build since it's more combat oriented. I continued my way forward, killing many harpies and collected feathers for this clown. And I also reunited the trolls, getting Mitris's bandana. I then went on to the catacombs to examine the corpses and found if Elias was actually telling the truth. Before reaching the catacombs, I found Kedveni Black Sword, replacing my current steel sword with it. In the catacombs, I gave all the correct answers to receive a Dumb Banner standard required for the main quest. I also received the magical crystal from the Harpy's Nest, And with the Dandelion's help I reached the succubus, but only after trying all the combinations because I suck at poetry. Deciding not to kill the succubus and turn Elias in, I went to Yorvet with the proof found in the catacombs. I went back to the succubus where Elias was waiting for me in an ambush. Killing him easily, I talked to the succubus and some other things, and in return I get a really good new armor. I then showed Philip a magical crystal and gave her Trice's bandana, which unlocks the new quest Royal Blood. The peasants are preparing to lynch the prince because they think he poisoned Saskia, while I usually allow lynching because I don't like Prince Stannis, but this time I decided I'm up for additional challenge as you have to infiltrate Hansel's camp instead, and I decided to capture him and don't allow lynching. Coming back to Philippa, I saw her doing some things with Cynthia and I told her I needed to get to the other side of the mist. And then I got the key to the Harpy's nest from Cecil Burden as well. I destroyed all the Harpy's nest and picked up all the dream crystals and watched them all, seeing what happened with Leto as well as Baltimore's nightmare, unlocking continuation of this side quest. I also fully completed this clown's Harpy Feather contract, giving me kinda useless trophy, well worse than what I have right now. Going to Baltimore's house, I asked Thorak for details, and I found Baltimore's notes as well as followed them, and also found the chest of the Mystic River side quest while at it. Accidentally entering the fog, the game forced me to get to the other side of it with Philippa's help. I then found the Trice's figurine and Roach. Before reaching Hansel's camp, I fought my way through the cave, and since I'm pretty strong now, I had no trouble with it. On the other side, I get captured by the Nilfgaardians, taking my figurine and tasking Van Hemar to execute me. Of course, with the help of Roach, I break free and kill Van Hemar, who wasn't really that difficult of a fight. For the record, I practically took no damage in this fight, and from beating him I received the armor of Loch Muin, currently the best armor I can get. With the help of Roach, I snuck inside the camp, but of course failed at stealth. Since I think this causes a game over after a few seconds, I decided I won't replay the game just because of this, so I reloaded the save before the kill animation can trigger. And then I failed again. The third time being the charm, I succeeded and reached Hansel. He gets convinced and gives me his blood. Hansel letting me go, I go back to the other side of the fog. First thing on the other side, I finished Baltimore's Nightmare side quest, killing Thorak and other dwarves, and almost suffering another run-ender due to me getting stuck and stun-locked. I reloaded before I could die and killed them on the second try. Reaching level 23, I finally got to the end of the combat tree, and I also put a few mutagens in for some passive buffs. I collected the rewards for Harpies and for killing Thorak, giving me Best Steel Sword for Act 2, Gui here. Why here? Why here? Gui here? I don't know. Coming back to Philippa, I finally have all the artifacts to dispel the fog. First part is quite easy because you're not taking much damage as a soldier and avoiding arrows is also easy. The Selkirk part is a little bit harder, but mostly because of the shield guys. You still take almost no damage though. Going back to Geralt, now we have a real fight. The Drow. This boss can be really difficult. Using art, I stunned him to avoid hitting the armor and then just deleted his health, making this boss a joke compared to what I remember him being. I guess dark mode would be a bit harder here. This now removes the fog and enables Hansel to actually attack us. This is pretty much the most fun battle in the game, although it's not particularly difficult with a few potions. Getting quite a few cool executions in the process and practically slaughtering Hansel's entire army by myself, I regrouped with Saskia and went underground, taking my bat of enemies using the backdoor entry. And of course we were correct. I slaughtered everybody underground and right before reaching Deathmold applied another whetstone. And while I did take some damage against Deathmold, I swiftly defeated him. He burned me and left me unconscious, forcing Saskia to reveal she's a dragon. Getting back to the battleground and final part of this battle, I swiftly killed and executed many more enemies until Scoia'tael arrived, forcing Hansel to surrender. Hansel had to agree to the terms, causing Deathmold to be executed. Sadly, much less satisfying death than on Roach's path. Philippa has escaped, and thus we follow the tracks leading to Loch Muin. Reaching the cliffs leading to Loch Muin together with Yorvet, this part is kinda easy. I killed many harpies and arakases and reached the cave. I got that one, pretty much one of the best, if not the best, silver sword in the entire game, making this my final weapon for the run. I finally got through the cave and reached the city. In the city I started with killing the gargoyles to unlock all of the diagrams for the best armor and steel sword in the game. Of course I still needed to fight the guy to unenchant them. This final chapter is honestly quite short compared to chapters 1 and 2 because there are not many side quests left. I completed the final fist fighting challenge against the guy and of course all the dice poker challenges. Mostly really losing money due to the being unlucky, but I won enough to just complete the side quest without being completely broke. Of course I also beat the guy at the arm wrestling after calling him out, beating the final minigame in this game. In the sewers I found Bran armor being the best armor in the game, as well as later on enhanced it for being even more powerful, completing the Mystic River side quest. I decided to rescue Philippa going through the sewers and to her location. Of course I witnessed the spoon gouging of the eyes, but after that I just attacked and killed all of the guards rescuing her. I escaped through the sewers, killing many rotfiends and expanding my final oils, which is just perfect since I won't need them anymore. I have enough whetstones to last me the entire game at this point, even twice to be honest. I did almost die due to getting stunlocked, but barely managed to pull through. After reaching the dagger chest and solving this puzzle, I beat this elemental quite easily and received the dagger, marking the ending I'm going to get. I finally reached a guy who can transcribe the manuscripts, enabling me to craft better Vran armor and all the other Elder Blood armor pieces, as well as Karma, the best steel sword in the game. I filled the armor and the sword with best enhancements I've had, putting bleeding on steel sword and fire on silver. And on armor I used every enhancement with +2 armor and an additional effect, similar to diamond enhancements. Fully upgraded, I decided to do the final side quest before completing the game. Not that I needed to, but why not? The secrets of Loch Muin, I helped Cynthia and completed puzzles, many of which I just trialed and errored until I succeeded because I couldn't be bothered otherwise. Enemies that spawn are weak anyways, and fire damage is a joke at this point. I defeated the golems easily since I take almost 0 damage, and then the final part of this side quest, killing Adalbert. This part was just more annoying than difficult because of his clan, but I killed him without any problems. I checked on trees and completed the quest, and of course I got the reward after. Being at the end of the game, I finally joined the deliberations where the dragon attacked. I rushed up the tower, Quam protecting me most of the time, and reached Sheila. There her megascope misfunctioned, and because I didn't like her, I got to watch a very nice explosion. When Dragon attacked, I deleted half his health without taking any damage, reaching the final confrontation. For some reason I remember this dragon being much harder, but here I just spammed the Quan and killed him without taking any real damage. Beating the dragon, he gets impaled on the log and I use the dagger to save Saskia, which at this point I have already won. There are no more difficult parts left and I still have 7 whetstones left, proving the game really isn't that hard. This is pretty much enough to play through the entire game 2 more times. I killed a few more Nilfgaardians and reached Latho. Here I decided to spare him because he's Latho, and of course I can't kill him, he saved trees as well. We talked it out and went on our ways. After getting the ending, I decided I didn't get enough challenge, so I did one more final test and fought Latho this time just to prove I'm not afraid of the challenge. The fight was piece easy, me dealing more damage to him than he did to me. I got a beautiful yet unrealistic choreography of the fight and the death of the Latho. But of course the real ending is when I let the Latho survive. So how was the challenge? Really, after getting through the prologue, the difficulty became a joke. I did have to use the reload option a few times due to me getting stunlocked, but besides that, this is really just a hard mode with Permadeath. It's not on a dark mode level, which in my opinion is just a better difficulty. Do I recommend you try this challenge? Well, you can, but mostly I don't see this being more fun than the actual hard mode, And besides, the dark mode is even more fun, to be honest. I'm still happy I can say I've beaten Witcher 2's hardest difficulty though. If you like this video and wanna see more of this, make sure you like and subscribe. It helps me keep making videos like this, and I'll see you guys next time. Now go!